We spoke about it up here. I don't even remember how long ago, but there was an ODB doc that was supposed to come out called A Tale of Two Dirties,
Yeah.
and it was put together by A&E. Um, and we were excited about it, but then we couldn't find it
Hmm.
anywhere. And then one day I was scrolling on Hulu. I was like, "Hey, wait a minute, ain't this the one?" And it was the one. And so I told you, and we watched it, and now it's time for us to give y'all a review.
Yeah.
So you started last time. I'll start this
Oh no,
time to be
please, you
fair.
go. Please.
This nigga here, yo.
Well, I think this will go a little bit differently than the last topic, but you go.
Okay.
I mean, I'm one of the biggest ODB fans, so you go.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So I thought it was a good doc. I thought it was serious. I thought it was funny. I thought it was sad. I think they did a good job of showing us um life outside of music.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and we've spoke about this before. Actually, just the other day we were talking about this when we spoke about the Muhammad Ali series that's coming, the greatest. Um, a lot of times we hear about the career of the person, the thing they are famous for, but
Yeah.
we seldom hear about life outside of that, right?
The
It's like
man.
right or the woman, right?
Or
Like
the well, I'm in this case the man, but yes.
in this case the man, right? So but we seldom hear about the person, right? It's like
Yeah.
you might hear about, yeah, they grew up in this blah blah blah, but then it like jumps to once their career starts, we don't hear too much about their struggles or their real life situations.
Especially
Um
people of the past. And
right,
I
exactly.
use the past loosely, but people of the past, people who are coming up now or people who are active now have more of an opportunity to share their lives because of the fact that we're so connected. But years ago,
Right.
we weren't as connected as we are today, so there was little opportunity for that. You had to create that in some way, whether it was MTV always used to do those lifestyle shows and
Mhm.
different things like that. So yeah, so I just wanted to say that. Please go ahead.
No, no, that was great. Yeah, no, I agree. And so we seldom get that, even in like a lot of biopics or whatever. You see more about like the career of the person, the thing the person is famous for. So they did a good job speaking about his struggles with drugs, his
Mhm.
struggles with adultery, um, struggle with the label, lots of different things both in and out of music, and how some of those things intertwined. And so I thought it was balanced. Um, it was nice to hear from those who are close to him. I know every member of the Wu Tang Clan did not speak or participate in this. But it was nice to hear these candid stories from those who did.
Mhm.
Some stuff we got via footage. Other
Yeah.
things we got, you could tell they did full interviews. You could tell Ghostface and Raekwon did full interviews.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. Um, I think it's a sad story, but I think they told it. Oh, and Mariah Carey, we got lots of stories from Mariah herself, which I would be honest, I was shocked to see Mariah on camera that much. I was like, man, they gave Mariah enough money for 2 minutes, and we never gonna see her again. But Mariah was there throughout the doc. Um, yeah, so I thought this was good.
Mhm.
Um, I don't really have any critiques. There are some people I would have liked to hear a bit more from,
Mhm.
but for whatever reason, they were not involved in the doc. They didn't sit down and do an interview. And I think that's unfortunate. I think it would have been nice to hear from more of the Wu Tang members.
Mhm.
But you got a lot of the people who are Wu adjacent, Papa Wu, and um, I
Yeah.
forgot the producer's name. I can't think of it. I apologize. But one of the producers for the Wu was there, speaking about Dirty and working with Dirty and stuff like that. And we
Mhm.
got to see a lot of hip hop legends. To be honest, whether you like who they are or not, but to have, Stretch and Bobbito up there, Steve Rifkin, like, and some of the executives and managers and stuff, like some of these people are icons in the industry. So I think they tapped good people to give us a balance of the story. It wasn't like they found an angry manager and that's the only person we heard from. We heard from people who had business dealings with him and just business dealings, like the executive from Elektra,
Mhm.
um, and like the manager who kind of, you could tell had some level of love for him, but was his manager.
Yeah.
Um, and we also heard from people extremely close to him, like the Wu members and Wu adjacent people and his family, right? We heard directly from brother, dad, wife, daughters, son. Um,
Sister.
so I thought it was really good.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't really have a complaint. I don't think they did a bad job at all. I think it was a good doc. It was a balanced doc. It wasn't like super long. It didn't really drag. They kind of moved the story along, and that's that. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Um, there was one story I thought was missing. And maybe because I know a little bit about Wu. But I know there's a very specific story that RZA has shared
Mhm.
about ODB coming to him in the studio and saying, like, I don't have much more time. And then maybe 2 or 3 days later, something like that, he passed away. And I thought that conversation would be there. But it wasn't. And I guess RZA didn't participate to tell the story. Um, but I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't there because it's public. So I definitely thought that would be there as they got to the end of ODB's life, and that stretch of time. Um, Honestly, now that I also say this, I think it's a little sad that Kanye is kind of lost his mind because it seemed like towards the end, Kanye and ODB were developing a really nice relationship. They had done work together. It would have been cool to hear that story from Kanye. So it's also unfortunate that Kanye is kind of uh but yeah, I thought it was good.
I agree. I thought it was great. So I did, yes, they did talk about his struggles. I I agree with that. I think they um things I didn't know about what he was going through um were were discussed. But something that stood out to me also is that the people who knew him well, like his group members and his family, they all talked about how generous he was. I mean,
Yep.
I know his wife did speak about the fact that there were some issues there, some
Hmm.
domestic issues. So I don't want to misrepresent what she shared. I don't want to like rewrite her story. But something that a lot of the people in the documentary highlighted was that he was very generous.
Especially
Um,
when he first got on.
yeah, and even they said he wasn't worried about like living in some lavish place or you know you
Having
know
a ton of money.
having a ton of money. He would say that he could make more money, so he would give it away freely. To the point where his family even they expressed that they felt like people took advantage of him. And then when he really needed help, weren't there for him. I thought
Right.
that really stood out to me that how generous people said he was, because those things stay with people. So when you're gone, that's one of the big things that people remember when you were kind and you were generous. Um, and
Absolutely.
we don't necessarily think of rappers as kind and generous. It doesn't mean that they're not. It's just not the first thought you have about
No,
them.
no, great point. Great point.
So I thought that was really cool to hear that he was like that and he left such an impression on people in that way. Um, you know, whatever for whatever it's worth, because again, you know, his family expressed that he wasn't always present and there were some flaws when it came to him as a husband and a father. So I don't want to change their experience in any way, because their feelings are valid. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And like I said, I'm a really big ODB fan. I mean, I heard, what was it, Fantasy? And I was like, oh, so I need more of this guy.
Yeah.
And probably one of the reasons, well, I always say that the reasons why I love Wu-Tang is because of Ghostface and ODB. Like, just, if I heard anything they did, I was like, oh, wait, but I gotta hear everything else now, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So,
I thought, if you don't mind me jumping in for a second, I thought it was really cool also that they spoke to his artistry, which just realized I didn't really say much about, but they spoke about his ability and kind of the way he was ahead of his time with certain things, his ability to kind of know the balance of, yeah, I can be super lyrical and do all of this stuff, which I did before I was known as ODB. But I also am going to analyze this track and see how can I not do that and kind of do this thing where I'm going to hold notes like a singer and change flows in a way that at that time really wasn't being done. And I thought that was great. And the other thing that I realized I didn't mention is people spoke about his struggle maintaining the image. What's up?
I just realized I never turned on my ring.
Oh, I was like, what? Why is that funny that he struggled with his image? Oh, the red
No, I'm
light
so
got me.
sorry. That was
No, it's
rude,
fine.
but
Just no, it's cool. It's cool.
because I was trying to like sneakily turn it on.
You could tell. It looked like you pulled back a window or something. Mad light just started coming from this side. It's fine.
I'm so sorry. I was like, why does it look so
Fine.
grainy?
Part of potting, you know what I'm saying? They'll be all right. Yeah, I thought it was great that they spoke about his struggle with maintaining the character of ODB, because I don't think that gets highlighted enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists who are known for being a character in one way or another. And a lot of people, speaking from personal experience, there are people, and I won't say a lot of people, there are people when you start doing music who tell you, you should create another persona. You should create another version of you. It will elevate your artistry. And I'm not going to say that it does or does not. It worked for ODB. But the reason I have never wanted to do that is because you have to maintain that character. If you decide that Dashing D is a pimp, then Dashing D got to be a pimp every time we see Dashing D. Every time you hear
down on the floor.
Like a pimp.
Duh.
You don't even know the history with that song. If Tez was here, he would crack you up right now.
Oh man.
Anyway.
Okay, next time I see Tez, I'm gonna be like, what's the Like a Pimp story? I need to know.
Teenager JD stuff. Anyway, teenager JD antics. Anytime that song comes up, he's like, "Yo, you remember?"
He's like he's a really good storyteller. He loves. He'd be
yes, I do.
He's very nostalgic.
I'm like, yes, I do remember. Anyway,
I said real thugs, but I meant real girls. Y'all know what I'm
saying. That's all good. The girls are thugs too. Anyway.
Yeah. I used to think I was one. I've never been a thug. Just
well, anyway. But if Dashing D is a pimp,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the character that has come out. Dashing D has to maintain being a pimp at all times. Anytime Dashing D leaves the house, anytime Dashing D is on screen, anytime Dashing D is on someone else's record, Dashing D got to be a pimp.
I gotta put on my leopard coat.
Illegal leopard. And so that's a struggle, is my point,
Yeah.
right? And so I really appreciated that they spoke to that,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe someone else won't have to have that struggle,
Yeah.
and you can be yourself and authentically who you want to be, because it seemed like authentically ODB was a great guy. Ason Unique was a great guy. Everyone spoke about how he had such a beautiful soul, the type of energy he brought into the
Yeah.
room, all of those things.
He
Life
was
might
very
have
strong in
been
his
better
faith
for
too.
him.
Oh, sorry.
No, what'd you say?
I was gonna say you said Ason Unique, so it made me think also, and something I was thinking about before was that he was very strong in his faith as well.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting. You know,
You didn't know that part, right?
no.
Yeah. I know a lot about it because I read both of RZA's books. There's two.
Read those.
They're great. The first one, you kind of, in my opinion, the second one is better because it gives you more of the nooks and crannies. The first one is kind of like, here's Method Man. Let me tell you how he became Method Man. And here's what his first single was. And here's where he first signed. It's like mini autobiographies that also tell you why the Wu is the Wu and how they were formed. I knew all that stuff already before reading the book, or most of it. So to me, it wasn't groundbreaking. The second book really gets into the nooks and crannies. It's called Tale of Wu. That's the one that's like, all right, I'm gonna have to read this a couple times. But I have both of them and enjoy both of them for different reasons. But yes, I knew about that stuff, and I'm also a person who listens to lyrics a lot. You can hear a lot of the faith-based things in their early works. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I know you were talking, but I just wanted to say, like, I think it was great that we took turns doing it.
We did.
I just think it was good that they spoke to that, because I think today there are probably more characters than ever. People may not admit it, but today I think there might be more characters than ever. And there are some struggles that come with it. So I thought it was great that they shone light on that.
Yeah. And people,
back to you, Jim.
And people, and a lot of times you see, and eventually the rebrand comes. You know, eventually it's like,
if they stick around that long.
If they stick around that long, some people drop part of their name. Some people, you know, you got, I mean, not the same thing, but you got The Weeknd talk about he want us to call him Abel. Get out of here.
And that's a great example. I know you're making jokes, but that's a great example. That's a great example, because the Weeknd said, and I quote, "I have taken the character of The Weeknd as far as I can."
Right. And I do understand it, because The Weeknd was rooted in drugs and sex and deviant behavior. If you listen to The Weeknd's earlier works, that's what it was about. It was about him getting high
I'm just being silly. I know.
Doing whatever people do when they get high.
Yep.
And I listen, I feel when I really got into The Weeknd, and then this, I know we gotta go, but when I really got into The Weeknd, it occurred to me that all the straight-laced people out there in the streets, you know, weren't listening to the lyrics. They weren't. They were hearing like these really fun poppy beats, and they were like, "Ooh, this guy The Weeknd, he's great. Oh my gosh, let's go to his concert." But if you listen,
right.
like
this nigga's like
the anthology that the trilogy that he did, it's deviant behavior with his alter ego, you know. And at that point, he was calling his alter ego himself, Which is wild, which is why this is wild to me, and which is why I make fun of it, because I'm like, but you were telling us that Abel was the deviant, and now you want us to call you Abel? I mean, that's the
Yes,
man's real name, but
yes.
it's just it's just to me it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. But anyway, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We'll call him Abel. We'll give him that, or we'll black
And
people will do what black people do and just be like, I mean,
and we'll see what new music
whatever
Abel
that
puts
nigga
out.
name is.
And we'll see what music Abel puts out. Because I don't know if Abel got the slaps like The Weeknd.
Will we? Will we see? I'm sorry, never mind. Okay, we need to go.
Final thoughts on the ODB movie, Doc.
It was sad, but I'm glad that it was made. I am. I am. And it just solidified for me how much I miss him and how much the culture how much of a loss it was to the culture when he passed away.
Definitely. And how many moves niggas tried to steal from him.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
I will be remiss to leave this pod and not say that. A lot of y'all niggas
Yes.
done stole everything out the ODB playbook,
Right.
including jumping on stage when niggas was winning Grammys.
Well,
And on that note, this has been Weeknights.